Right. Are we back? And has anybody found me yet? Let's see. Phone notes. Okay, one person's back. One person's back. You can hear me now. Can you hear the guitar now? Yes, good. What happened was we briefly lost power to the Focusrite, which is the little sound adapter that we use. The power for that, well, it fell out momentarily, which meant that this thing then defaulted, I think, to the system microphone, which wasn't working. So anyway, we are now back. Oh, thank fuck for that. Kathy, you okay? Okay, well done. All right, it's June. We are the Bunty. Druids. Oh, we got bouncing on the Beltane at the dawning of the sun on our inflatable stood circle, having Muncie pagan fun. Oh, we go bouncing with our ropes on, till we all fall in a heap, waving up from rubber torches, sacrificing blow-up sheep. They are the Muncie. Oh, we go bouncing on the solstice. Oh, when the summertime is here, and then we let on the stone circle and roll it up for one more year. Oh, we are happy and delightful. Oh, we are harmless and we're good. We're not mean and scary like in that movie where that one would. Oh, I There you go. Hello. Yes, got there in the end. And apparently you can still see me and hear me, which is kind of important. Hello. Yes, I don't know how you guys are doing. I'm still a bit beat up from the weekend. As you may know, the Rick Mail Comedy Festival is currently on the go. And I basically played the whole of the first weekend of it. I did, I think, 5 shows in about 10 hours on Saturday. I did like this opening gala thing in like the town square. And then I did the kids show run by my comedy club for kids pals in their actual kind of standing theatre in Droitwich, is a thing called the Norbury, which is a lovely little thing. And that was on in there. Kathy, a couple of things. Can you bring me my water bottle? And also, I could do with something to wipe this lens with. I think it's a bit smudgy. I'm looking all a bit sort of soft focus. I'm looking like somebody Captain Kirk fancies. Some of you will get that reference. That's true, yes. But you can always tell when Captain Kirk fancied someone because they'd suddenly go into soft focus. Anyway, what was I going to say? Yes, so we did that. And then I did a podcast in the Working Men's Club, which is like the other sort of big indoor venue, which is a couple hundred yards away, with the Tony Slattery guys. The people who are kind of in the process of kind of nursing Tony Slattery back into the world when he died have now kind of become sort of the Tony Slattery Preservation Society, as it were. And they're I'm doing a tribute for them next week, am I not? No. Is that wet? Oh, no, it's good. Okay, cool. Let me see if this makes me a bit more sharp. A little bit, maybe. I've still got that rather nice bit of J.J. Abrams lens flare down the middle of it. I can live with that if you can. On the 9th, I'm doing a tribute show for him. That's somewhere down here, isn't it? Oh, no, where is it? Somewhere in London, isn't it? Yeah, anyway, I will anyway, I will put something up about that on the socials, so no doubt. But so I did a little podcast with them, which actually involved playing. I didn't realize they were going to ask me to do this. Quite a few improv games, which was lovely because I haven't played improv games for a long time, and playing improv games was kind of how all this happened. You know, I was in the Edinburgh University improv troupe in the end of the 80s, beginning of the 90s, and then they they sort of they went semi-professional, and so did I. And then I ended up sort of spending the summer of 1991. It's rather distracting, that stripe, isn't it? In 1991 in Montreal, Canada, and that was the first place I did stand-up. I hope that is lens flare. I've got a weird fault with the camera. I wonder what happens if I move this. I'm almost worried to do so because the last time I moved something, everything went wrong. Screw it. Okay, I can live with that stripe down the middle. And so that was fun, but that immediately that ended, I had to run back to the Norbury Theatre because the Comedy Club for Kids are doing a second show for grown-ups, as in everybody who did the kids show is now going to do a grown-up show. So I did two shows of the same lineup, and then I had a couple of hours off, but I couldn't relax because I had to sort of write copious show notes for the first of my kind of me projects, which was the show I did on Sunday night called Mitch, Benn is a Wild-Eyed Loner at the Gates of Oblivion. The album for that is now up on Bandcamp. It contains mainly stuff that you guys have already heard. In fact, I think pretty much entirely stuff that you guys have already heard. I wrote some songs for it, which I put up as Patreon posts over the turn of the month there. And also the audio sketches that Kathy and I did, the Blackadder one and the New Statesman one. And what's that? Yeah, I did the Droitwitzer. Oh, yes. There is a song which I sort of composed on the hoof for that opening thing in Droitwich on Saturday morning. So that has been added to the album as well. But the other thing we did was make some special USB key rings just for the occasion. And we still have quite a lot of them left, as you can imagine. So, yeah, those are also now available through the Bandcamp site because we've expanded the Bandcamp site to include merch, which it didn't do heretofore. So that's all rather fun. But yes, people have asked for one of the songs from the show. So this is probably the one that I can do the most justice to by myself. I am working from notes. That should be fairly apparent, but we'll see how we do. Long, long ago, I was such a promising youth. I knew right from wrong, had a heart full of song and a mind full of innocent truth. But then you came my way and it was not to be. So I'm singing to say what I've wanted to say since about 1983. You bastards, look what you've done to me. You said your insanity ran through my TV with no thought to the consequences. You bastards! Saw you right there in front of me. Then you seeped into my brain and you drove me insane. And that's what has reduced me to this. I chuckled along with not the 9 o'clock news. I'm Morecambe and Wise and other humorous guys who mysteriously all came in twos. Comedic delights drifted across my screen. Then up you all leapt and I laughed till I wept, cause it felt like it ruptured my spleen. You bastards, you ruined my life that day. I had the potential to be a man of destiny, a person of great consequence. You bastards, look how you've led me astray. And now all I want to do is shout Willie and Brew and flick bogeys at my audience. I could have had a proper job, been an upstanding citizen, but no. Now I write songs about my knob, and the fact that I call it my knobs is all you need to know. You bastards, you've totally fucked up my head. I could have been a musician or a proper actor, all those things that I wanted to do. You bastards, now I'm a desperate clown instead. And the worst tragedy is knowing I'll never be remotely as funny as you. As you can probably hear, the voice is still a bit rough. I am because excuse me. I was working all day Saturday, and then Sunday I only had the one show, but it was quite a big show, and it also involved driving away all the way back to Battersea to pick up Ronnie Golden, because we were getting him to do a bit in the middle of it, and then driving all the way back to Droitwich, battling our way through a PA which had been not so much set up as abandoned. With this poor little student there whose name I can never get right. It was something like Shobo or something, wasn't it? Yeah. She was great, but she was just like had essentially been abandoned with this PA that she could not fathom at all. And when you're looking at one of those desks and you've never worked one before, it's like trying to land an airliner, you know. But what was good was the fact that she didn't get too flustered about it, and she didn't get up on a high horse about it. She admitted that I don't know what any of this shit means. And the rest of us have basically spent enough time in and out of various bands to, between us, be able to figure out what was going on with the PA and be able to set it up properly. So I was actually quite proud of her, because the problem is not when you meet people who don't know what they're doing, as long as they're willing to listen to people who might know what they're doing. The problem is when you encounter people who don't know what you're doing and insist otherwise and will not listen to any kind of advice or accept any kind of help. Those people can really screw you up. So yeah, that was so we got the PA set up and working, and then we played all night, and it was pretty riotous stuff. But by the end of it, there was very little left of the voice, and it's only just sort of easing its way back online now, even as we speak. So still a little bit rough, particularly because we ended with the 1-2 of Ace of Spades, which were allowed because it's in the Young Ones Series 2, Episode 1, which is also my favorite episode. And then while the last E chord of Ace of Spades was ringing, it somehow evolved into Enter Sandman, and we ended up doing that as well. Much to the alarm of our bass player, Doug, who has no idea how Enter Sandman goes. And just had to kind of improvise along with it. He did a remarkably good job, all things considered. Anyway, what that does mean is I know there's been a few requests sent into the Patreon page, but a lot of them for ones I don't know the words for, and I haven't got the words written down anywhere. But what I do have the words written down for, actually, I now realize, is the opening number from Wide Eyed Loner. So I can do that for you because I've got it right here. So, and for some reason, I decided to do Eddie Cochran again. I don't know. I just really like Eddie Cochran. So what did you want to be when you were a kid? Still time to make it happen. It's time to make it happen, unless of course you already did. It's getting ever harder to create some kind of identity. That's what my boyhood heroes coming up and go who I wanna be. So I'm a wide-eyed loner with the guitar of oblivion, standing alone and surprisingly tall. Most days of Neil, some days of Vivian, those are the best days of all. I'm the people's poet, taking no prisoners on the last puppet out of Nowheresville. If only I had more views and listeners, I would be quite a big deal. If you just figured out the world's not as kind as it seems, don't let it make you too afraid to try to follow your dreams. And I'm gonna help, you don't have to do it alone. But these dreams are mine, go find some of your own. Cause I'm a wide-eyed loner at the gates of oblivion, trying to break through to the other side. Life is cool and so unforgiving, but it's a hell of a ride. I'm a wide-eyed loner at the gates of oblivion, living on the limits of reality. I don't mind, it's just how I'm living, it's just what I've gotta be. So hands up, who likes me? I had to get that reference in at the end there. That's one of my funniest, that's my favorite Rick moment, I think. It's been interesting, actually. I was wondering how those bits are going to go over, because the as you may know, we did the 3 audio sketches, all of which involve sort of Rick in one way or another. We got the imaginary 5th season of Blackadder set in the University of 1960. We had an imaginary New Suze of the New Statesman, in which he's in the House of Lords. And also there was the young one's birthday card, which I made for Robin Ince, who was not there, who very much wanted to be there, but was prior committed quite heavily. Robin, of course, did the young ones as his subject when he did Celebrity Mastermind, and he won. I did Peter Cook, and I won too. And I told a story about that, which I don't think I've ever told on stage before, the one about the money. I don't think I've ever told that story on stage before. It is quite amusing. Some of you may have heard this, because I think I've written this up in a column or blog at some point, but when you do Celebrity Mastermind, there is no prize money as such, but everybody gets like about £3,500 participation fee, but you have to give it to charity, because it's the celebrity version. And obviously anybody who is enough of a celebrity to get onto Celebrity Mastermind couldn't possibly be in the sort of situation they could really fucking do with £3,500. So I had to give it away. Now, most people tend to go for the big obvious ones like your Oxfams and you Save the Children and all that kind of thing. This was about a month after my dad had died. Now, for the last couple of months of his life, my dad was completely bedridden. He had a hospital bed that they wheeled into his living room. And my mum was essentially completely housebound because she couldn't go anywhere. The only respite she got was twice a day. This local charity sent round these two male orderlies, these two big, strapping guys who could lift me dad out of bed so they could change his bed linen and give him a wash and everything. And that was also the only chance my mum got to go to the shops and buy a paper or anything, So this charity really did make a difference to my dad's quality of life for his last few weeks. So when I had to nominate a charity to give this money to, I nominated these guys. I phoned my mum and said, what was the name and email address of that charity? She gave it to me. So I passed it on to the BBC. A couple of weeks later, my mum got this rather bewildered phone call from the guy who runs the charity going, Mrs. Benn, sorry about this, but I just want to ask, I've got this email here. Says it's from the BBC, and they're asking for me bank details because they want to give us loads of money. He thought it was the Nigerians. He thought it was a Nigerian phishing scam. And I was made up when I heard that. I thought, there's a rule to live your life by. Be so generous, people wonder if you're a Nigerian phishing scam. So there you go. Kathy, what else was on the set list? Any others? Kathy has a set list written down. Kathy's very organized. Well, she insists that she isn't, but she's better at faking it than I am. What have we got? Yeah, no, that's that. All that. Beach barbecue. Yeah, if I hadn't been beset by technical issues in the last 20 minutes before we went on, I might have had time to look up beach barbecue, but I don't think I have. Oh, I tell you what, though. If we're doing Beach Boys parodies, are we feeling in the mood for Ceasefire? It's a bit grim, but it's sort of mordantly grim, and it's not entirely untopical at the moment, is it? Although it refers to a previous conflict in the Lebanon in about 2008. I wrote this song called Ceasefire. It got me in a bit of trouble at the time. At the time, there was conflict between Israel and Lebanon, and some kind of temporary truce had been arranged. And I remember reading in the news that the Lebanese were celebrating their ceasefire. And I remember thinking, celebrating? Really? Is that the words? Anyway. I think I remember the words of this one. Everybody in the Lebanon, we got a ceasefire. Ceasefire. Kick off your shoes and get your clatter strags on. It's a ceasefire. Ceasefire. Come on now, we'll have a street party in the ceasefire. Ceasefire. Or at least we'll have a party where the street is to be, because there's a ceasefire. Ceasefire. Bring a few surviving friends, because tonight we're gonna come on over to what's left of my place. Have a double in the rubble and get out of your face. Nearly everybody's dead, so there'll be plenty of space in this ceasefire. Sing Hezbo, Hezbo, la la la. Hezbo, Hezbo, la la la. Hezbo, Hezbo, la 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 la. Everybody come compare your scars. It's a ceasefire. Ceasefire. We got shrapnel wounds in Colorado. There's a ceasefire. openly giggle at the Israelis because it's a ceasefire. Bring a few surviving friends. So now we're gonna party, but the fun never ends. Cause you know by Monday morning they'll be bombing us again, but there's a ceasefire. Sing Hezbollah, Hezbollah, la la. Hezbollah, Hezbollah, la la. Hezbollah, Hezbollah, la 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 la. Yes, that got me in a bit of trouble. Well, the right kind of trouble, I think. Daily Mail said something about it, of course. So, like, BBC shot with pro-Hezbollah song. I'm thinking, is it? You think that's a pro-Hezbollah song? Have you asked Hezbollah whether they think it's a pro-Hezbollah song? Hezbo, la, la, la. I think they might think it was somewhat disrespectful. Anyway, so yes, I do not know the words from Beach Barbecue off the top of my head, but I do know that one. And actually, fact, Beef Barbecue is fairly bleeding sick as well. You're a twisted bunch of people. You really are. That's why I love you. Anything else on the list? Not that Not that I can do, says Kathy. Right. Okay. In that case, it's up to you guys. Hit me with some suggestions in the live chat. And if it's anything I can do justice to and that I even know 75% of the words for, then we'll do it. Any thoughts? I could always play Doc Brown. Yeah, apparently Brian Conley is taking up Doc Brown. I can see that. On this one. You are still there because none of you have said anything for ages. I'm hoping they're still there. Are they still there? That would be kind of ironic if they'd all disappeared. There we go. Don't fear the... Yeah, again. These are ones I haven't done for ages, so I don't know if I could... Lincoln a Fedora. Is that a song? Oh, no, that's your name. Right. Lincoln a Fedora. I think I'm still here. I could probably do I'm still here. In fact, I could definitely do I'm still here. Did it... in fact, wasn't it in one of my podcasts just recently? Oh, okay. Well, somebody's taught me into it. I don't know how much good just as I can do this one singing because it goes up a long way, but we'll see how we do. Was it a tragic accident or something they had planned? That old guy from TV and that MP and that bloke who used to be in that band? Or was it misadventure? Or was it suicide? Or would they still be here today if they hadn't gotten bored and tried? Autoerotic asphyxiation. If they want to die, know what you know it. Couldn't tell whether they were coming or going. Autoerotic asphyxiation. What a way to take a final breath. Shutting off your airway and pleasuring yourself to death. If you long for something different, if you yearn for something else, then a rude magazine or some margarine or get intimate with yourself. If it's a whole new level of sensation that you seek, it might be worth a try, but you probably die. So you might just want to work on your technique. Autoerotic asphyxiation. It's just for a few, the adventurous few. Furiously tugging while the faces turning blue. Autoerotic asphyxiation. What a way to make your final stand. Take an orange in your mouth, take your life in your own hand. A little tighter now. A little tighter now. Self-indulgent with the heart's involved, yeah. A little tighter now. A little tighter now. Better have some kind of quick release or they'll find you hanging on the bathroom door. Autoerotic asphyxiation. Because in the end, you're on die alone. It's about as much fun as you can have in your own. Autoerotic asphyxiation. Yeah, wherever you just can't cope. All you need is a quiet moment and some rope. Yes, Well done. The reason I can remember that is because it was on a tour. I actually sang it on a tour with the band. So, yeah, anything that had to be in a live show where I couldn't have notes at all, it's probably in here somewhere. A lot of the stuff that I wrote for the radio, I've never learned because, I performed it once on the radio with the words in front of me. And if I subsequently re-recorded it, I probably still had the words in front of me. So a lot of the stuff on the radio, oddly enough, I've never memorized. Yes. What's that? Oh, not sure that'd work in the guitar. It's a synth one. I mean, it could do, but what? Well, that's it. Yeah. Well, like I say, not sure how good that's going to come out, given that it's a synth-based one. What? Oh, okay. Don't want to dull no more. Yeah, no, that wasn't at all, but can I remember it? That's a good question. You might have the words. Okay. All right, I will introduce it. Let's do. What's that? Oh, the last thing we did? Oh yeah, tell you what, that'll be a good one. Is right. Hang on, I just need to lean out of shot because I need to grab the guitar back because I think there might be a capo in there. I should flap pathetically until Kathy comes and saves me. That's what I normally do. Is there?
Yes.
Excellent. Right, because even after the band show on Sunday, I could not actually come home because we'd rented this bus for the occasion, which could seat like the whole band and most of the kit, but we had my car there as well. So after the show on Sunday night, Matt, the guitar player, and Doug, the bass player, they were sticking around. They had hotels and everything, and they were going to go home they were going to go home on the Monday. Now I don't want to know. Cool, do that in a minute. I stayed on because we were also this story just gets more and more bizarre. About a month, 6 weeks ago, something like that. Kathy and I drove all the way up to Birmingham for lunch, which is a weird thing to do. But the reason we drove all the way to Birmingham for lunch is the lunch was in honor of and celebrating the 80th birthday of Jasper Carrott. Now, Jasper Carrott is sort of personally responsible for getting Kathy into comedy because he's sort of the first comedian she was really into when she was a kid. And I've got a lot of respect for Carrott because I've always said that little movement that he belonged to that consisted of no more than about 5 or 6 guys, which is, again, often kind of overlooked in the history of comedy because it doesn't fit into that narrative that there was this hard schism in 1979 when the store opened, and Alexi started the Gong Show, and basically everything that had existed before 1979 was sort of, immediately decried as horrible old, working men's club velvet jacket shit, and and everything which came after it was sort of incredibly fresh and thrusting, and it wasn't the case at all. And what in particular gets overlooked is there was an intermediate generation of folk club raconteurs, people who'd started out as folk singers and then become kind of folk club storytellers, and then the storytelling eventually took over from the music, and they became, and what was in this country a whole new kind of stand-up comedian. They became observational comedians because there was no real observational tradition in British comedy at the time. The Americans had already developed in the 60s with the Borscht Belt comics like Mort Sals, and more famously Lenny Bruce, and people literally just talking about life in the world and getting humor out of that. Whereas these folk club raconteurs, they kind of introduced it to Britain, and they all had a very strong regional identity, and it all became they came aligned to region. So the most famous one obviously was Billy Connolly, and he was the Scottish one, and then you had Jasper was the Brummie one, and then you had Mike Harding was the Northern one, Max Boyce was the Welsh one, Richard Digance was the Cockney one, and I've often said that it's a bit like there was a movement in London in the mid-70s called pub rock, not to be confused with punk rock, but it was, again, if anything, a more direct kind of reaction against prog rock because it was all about small bands playing loud rock and roll with just 3 or 4 guys in like tiny pubs. Most famous band it threw up was Dr. Feelgood. But while that movement didn't necessarily have anything directly to do with punk in terms of inspiration, it nonetheless kind of created the space for punk to happen in. Well, I think this kind of intermediate movement of your folk club raconteurs created the space, certainly on TV, for alternative comedy to happening when it came along, and I've always said that I don't think the public would have known what the hell to make of Alexi Sale if they hadn't had Billy Connolly, So anyway, we were going. We I don't know how we managed to get tickets to it, because apart from the fact that I used to do a radio show that was produced by his company Celador, neither of us has got any immediate connection to it, but we managed to get into Jasper Carrott's birthday lunch, 80th birthday. And it's Jasper's 80 now. Billy's about 82, I think, isn't he? They're all cracking on. Anyway, and Jasper was actually on pretty good form, and he stood up and did about 45 minutes, didn't he, after lunch? And then I went over and said hello to him, which is quite nice. And I said to him basically what I just said to you, that I think, and also because I think I'm more like that lot. Obviously I'm like 30 years younger than them, but I think I'm more like that lot. I think I'm more like your folk club raconteurs than anything that's come along in the meantime. So I told Jasper that, and he said, well, my work is done then, isn't it? And I thought it was rather nice. But anyway, while at Jasper Carrott's birthday party about 6 weeks ago, we were buttonholed by a comedian and promoter called Angie Belcher. And she said, you're in Droitwich the first weekend of the Rick Festival. I said, yeah. I said, right, well, you're staying until Monday lunchtime and doing my baby show. And I went, am I? She said, yes. And then pissed off, and I went, okay. And it's a thing called Aftermirth. And there's been a few of them. You can basically, it's just a comedy club, but you're allowed to bring babies, like babes in arms, like real sort of babies up to about, 2. The idea being, you don't really have to mind your material and what you're swearing the way you have to with the kids shows, because they're babies. They don't understand a bloody word of it. The thing is, it's just that when the babies kick off, nobody minds. We've all agreed to be in a room with babies, and babies kick off sometimes. So in respect, it's a bit like playing a wedding, but while there, so that was, I ended up having to stay on till until Monday lunchtime. But she's also got a dog gig on the go. Are we signed up for that yet? So when's that? So Angie, similarly, as well as running a Bring Your Babies gig, is also now running a Bring Your Dogs gig. But I played a song at the babies gig, which I hadn't played for ages. And this is an interesting one, because this is a song which kind of I wrote a long time ago, I think, for the Now Show. Forgot all about it for about 10 years, and then found a YouTube of me doing it that somebody else had put up there. And I thought, that's pretty good. I'm having it. So back into the set it went. It's great. It's like plagiarizing yourself. Anyway, so this was put in mind by having a room full of toddlers. When you're just a little child, everyone's so meek and mild in defense of your innocence. Everybody lies to you, trying to disguise from you the truth because of your youth. Well, I'm not ever gonna try to keep the facts from you. Santa Claus is just a fiction, so's the Easter Bunny too. You're gonna wind up in a job you swore you'd never do. This time you know that life is cruel, and you know everybody dies and no one ever goes to heaven. Your real dad is the man you've always known as Uncle Kevin. You'll never have another day of fun once you're 11 and you start a comprehensive school. Come on, kid, don't start to cry. Life's a bitch and then you die. This means you. It's sad, but it's true. Sorry if it makes you sad. Shatters any dreams you had, but you see, this time you heard this, now you're 3. Your mom Mum and Dad quite like you, but they much prefer your brother. Yeah, Daddy's had a string of love affairs, so has your mother. When they get divorced, they'll use you to get back at one another. That makes your life a misery. And Daddy's going bankrupt, all his money has been spent. You won't believe what Mommy has to do to pay the rent. They're not really sure they love you because you were an accident. That's a cruel grown-ups can be. So yeah, did that one. And the babies didn't start crying. Perhaps everybody's surprised. Kathy found the words to I don't want to adult. Okay, let's do this one. Let's see if I can remember what key it's in. Of course it's in G. Of course in G. Everything I write is either in G or in E anyway. I don't want to adult no more. Want to be a kid like I was before. What do I have to grow up for? I don't want to adult no more. There was simplicity and purity in my extended immaturity. The time people drank me out of it and make me do all kinds of grown-up shit. But I don't want to adult today. Take them real world things away. Just want to fanny about and play. I don't want to adult today. Some people slide right into adulthood so easily, and it suits them really good. Being insensible brings no stress or pain. I just don't seem to have that kind of brain. Cause I don't want to adult now, please. Take my responsibilities far as you can away from me. I don't want to adult now, please. I don't want to adult at all. Just cause I am big and tall and over 50 I'm going bald. I don't want to adult at all. I don't want to adult at all. There we go. Go. I'm actually less bald than I was, weirdly. Those of you who've been following me around for a while will know that I got incredibly ill at Edinburgh last year. I picked up some kind of weird staph infection, which made me feel like I was going to die for about 4 days. But moreover, made all my skin scab up and made my hair and most of my beard fall out. So that was nice. After about 3 days on like weapons grade antibiotics, I felt well enough to go back to work, but the beard and the hair couldn't be saved. So I had to buzz it all off. And yeah, the beard in particular took its own damn time coming back. I mean, if you look at the wedding photos at the end of September, it's still not there. That's why I've got kind of lemmy chops in my wedding photos because the beard at this bit hadn't gone back yet. But rather pleasingly, my hair, which I thought was probably never, which took even longer to grow back is actually slightly thicker than it was. So swings and roundabouts. Right. We did start late, so we'll go on a bit late if that's okay with everybody. Oh, somebody's having to say goodbye. Okay, DCK. Sorry about that. Sorry that we went up. Enjoy the set. Very glad you enjoyed the set. Thank you very much. We do this every month, in case you didn't already know that. There's been a request for something else I can see up there, which we'll probably do. And